This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Now then, recently on the channel I've done a bunch of videos that are all sort of based around looking at alternatives to particular types of guitar. Alternatives to a Stratocaster, alternatives to a Les Paul, Telecaster, whatever. And I think it's fair to say that in those videos I tended mainly to concentrate on the budget end of the market. But now, we're going to do the same thing again, but looking down the other end of the telescope. Let's imagine you've had a little bit of a windfall. Maybe you've won some money on a scratch card, or, you've got 8 score draws on the Littlewoods pools, or maybe your premium bonds have come up, if anybody else remembers those. Whatever, you've got a minimum of $2,500 burning a hole in your pocket, and you're looking for some kind of guitar that's a bit Stratocaster-like. What options do you have available? Well, here's a few that I've picked. Okay then, relatively speaking at least, let's take a look at the budget end of the spectrum in this lineup. The Sir Classic S in 3-tone burst. I like the look of this guitar, it has to be said. I like the understated, classy kind of vibe that it's got going on. Let's take a look at a few pictures. It's not shouting about its boutique kind of heritage, if you like. You could walk into your local pub and see a band playing and the guitarist is using one of these, and it's not like he's wearing the guitar equivalent of Mr. T's jewellery. Do you know what I mean? I mean, obviously, if you know about guitars, you'll see that headstock there and think, okay, yeah, that chap's all, obviously done okay for himself, but it's not, it's not shouting about it, and I do like that. In terms of spec, what you get is an older body with a maple neck with a satin finish. Compound radius fretboard going from 9 inches to 12 inches. And you also get built-in noise reduction. So, you can get that classic Stratty single coil tone without being bedeviled by the often accompanying mains hum that goes with single coil pickups. It gets rid of the hum, but without making it sound like a humbucker, if you see what I mean. So that is the Sir Classic 3-tone burst. That would be a strong contender for me if I was in the market for this style of guitar. As would this one. This is the Tom Anderson Drop Top Classic in Tiger Eye burst. Now the first encounter I had with Tom Anderson guitars was back in the 90s when I saw a review of a model they had in production then, the Grand Am Lamb, which was like a sort of a twin humbucker Telecaster style guitar, if I remember correctly. And just the reviewer, might have been Neville Martin, who used to write for Guitarist magazine. The reviewer was absolutely gushing about the guitar, saying it was just the best guitar he'd ever played. And, it's certainly, an attractive looking beast. The thing I've find a bit odd about Tom Anderson guitars is, look at that, you get a 2-bolt neck. Yeah, I've never heard any stories about that being a problem, but, if 2 bolts are enough, why do most companies use at least 3 or, 4 in the case of Fender, or what is it with Music Man, 6 bolts? But I suppose, Tom Anderson knows more about building guitars than me, so I'll trust his wisdom on that. It is an exquisite looking guitar, isn't it? It's, there's a very fine line between being opulent and luxurious and being just over the top and ostentatious, like I said earlier, the guitar equivalent of Mr. T's jewellery. And I think this guitar just about stays on the right side of that line. And for $3,000, it's a strong contender. In terms of the spec, well, as you can see in this listing here, there's not really a lot of information, but if you go to the Tom Anderson website, there it is. You can see that you're spoilt for choice. You can pretty much spec it up any way you want in terms of, the timbers that are used and the finish that you get and so on and so forth. So, about £3,000 will buy you something like this. Anyway, maybe you don't want something that looks all opulent and luxurious like this. Maybe your tastes are more towards something that looks like it's been buried in a peat bog for 40 years. Yes, as you can probably tell, I'm not a fan of relict guitars. You either get it or you don't, and I'm afraid I don't. But, I respect the fact that some people do, and it's all about personal taste and so on. This is the McMull Guitars S Classic in Sunburst, and it will weigh in at £4,880. And, for that kind of money, you are getting a guitar which is obviously aimed at the lover of vintage instruments, with the kind of relic finish to boot. Not my cup of tea as a guitar, I've got to be honest with you. Not just the relic finish, I do prefer a 22 fret neck rather than a 21 fret neck. I can live with a 21 fret neck on a £200 Strat copy, but if I'm spending thick end of £5,000, I want it exactly as I like it, and, that would be, something that would be, not my cup of tea anyway. But, that said, I have seen one or two online demos of these guitars, YouTube videos and so on, where they've been pitted against, very high-end Fenders and stuff. And these McMull guitars do sound absolutely exquisite. It is the epitome of the old-school vintage Strat tone. So, if that's what you're after and you like the look of this kind of relic finish, then maybe this is for you. The only thing that I would say is, that headstock, really, I suppose it's doing its job. It's, giving brand recognition. That is where any company that makes guitars, that's where they get the chance to kind of show their identity in terms of, when everybody's building guitars that look essentially the same, that is where you get to, be a little bit different. But dear me, it's, again, it's either love it or hate it, isn't it? Anyway, you cannot talk about high-end Strats without mentioning the Fender Custom Shop, and this is a Fender Custom Shop master-built guitar, £6,500 in round figures, and let's have a quick look at it. This possibly is, a relic guitar that I could begin to love. It would be a struggle, but I could see how I could get there. I don't know. Is it that tortoiseshell scratch plate that's swaying me? It could possibly be so, but it does have that sort of 60s hot rodded look about it, doesn't it? That the HSS kind of thing, and the lipstick tube pickups. Let's have a closer look at those. There they are. It wouldn't be my choice of guitar, but I can see the appeal of this a lot more easily than I can see the appeal of the McMull guitar. Let's put it that way. And it's a Fender Custom Shop, isn't it? And it's got to be on your bucket list to at least try one, I suppose. Anyway, moving on to the most expensive guitar in the lineup. Let's have a look at it here. This is the Pencer MK1 Plus. Now, MK1 doesn't stand for Mark 1. The MK stands for Mark Knopfler. The first time I saw Mark Knopfler using a guitar like this, not this particular model, but one that was very similar to it, it was a HSS guitar with AMG pickups, was back in the 1980s, where Dire Straits were playing some big outdoor, I think Wembley Arena gig. I can't remember what it was. But Mark was using what I later found out to be a Pencer Sir guitar. That was when Rudy Pencer and John Sir were in business together, making guitars. And beautiful looking instrument, it has to be said. It's let me look at my notes. It's got a chambered alder body with a quilted maple top and a bird's eye maple neck, and even down to little things like you can see there let's take a closer look. The red abalone inlays on the top of the volume controls. That is, that is just... Nobody needs that on, nobody needs that on the top of their volume control. It's just, it's doing it because we can, and it's just making it look just that little bit more opulent for the sake of making it look that little bit more opulent. When I was talking about the Sir guitar earlier on, and I said that you could walk into a pub and see a guitarist playing one of those, and it doesn't shout about its boutique price tag. This one does. This one absolutely, kind of grabs the bullhorn and says, "Look at me, I am a rich man's guitar." And much as I love Mark Knopfler and I love all of the early Dire Straits stuff, this one is, it's just a little bit too footballers' wives for my taste. Do you know what I mean? It's just a little bit, that fine line between opulent and ostentatious. This one kind of crosses it and, stays there and, shouts about it. It's not my cup of tea, but maybe it is yours. And if you've got, just a shade over $7,000 to spend on a guitar, you look at that price there and you think £7,000, £7,037.30. I wonder if you turned up with £7,000 in cash, whether they'd say, "Okay, deal," or whether they'd hold out for the extra £37.30. Makes you think, doesn't it? Anyway, those are the guitars in today's lineup of boutique Stratocaster style instruments. So we come to the all-important question of which one would I have? Well, on reflection, I think it would be that Tom Anderson. As I say, it just looks opulent and luxurious enough without crossing that line into just being a bit vulgar. That's just my taste, but there you go. So let me know which one you would pick, either from that list, or if you've got some of your own suggestions, just leave them in the comments section, and I'll be, kind of interested to hear what you would do with this. And it's a bit of fun anyway, isn't it? Just having a bit of fantasy guitar shopping. And that is pretty much it for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed the video and found it reasonably entertaining. That is, after all, what I'm setting out to do. And if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not give me a like while you're at it? If you're interested in supporting the channel, check out the links in the description. You can enroll on courses. You can join my Patreon. You can buy a Fret Zealot and get a little bit of money knocked off. Or you can even treat your nearest and dearest to some genuine gemstone handmade jewellery as made by my gorgeous and clever wifey. All the links are downstairs in the description, so check them out. Thank you in advance if you are thinking about doing that, and thank you so much if you already are. And with that, I'll bid you a good day and say look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Don't forget the live stream tomorrow, 5 PM UK time. I'd love to see you then. But till then, bye for now.